Hello, I'm Michael Cole, Chief Technology Officer for the Federal Civilian Business at GDIT. I'm joined today with a panel of experts to discuss Mission AI. It almost feels impossible to have a technology discussion without artificial intelligence being mentioned. Today, it feels like generative AI is dominating those conversations. However, there is more to AI for mission support across the federal government. For instance, it can support the drive to be more efficient, cost-effective, and more effectively use data. With that in mind, let's meet our panel. Can each of you briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Andrew Needs, Senior Manager of Fraud Analytics in the federal healthcare space.
I'm Stephanie Wood, Senior Program Manager for the Navy Enterprise Service Desk in Defense.
Michael Jones, Solutions Expert for Intelligence, Homeland Security.
Welcome. Let's dive in. As I mentioned just a minute ago, AI is everywhere, and its use can be different and many times is for each customer. Can you each take a moment to talk about your customer and their journey to AI?
So my customer is the Department of Navy, and several years ago they really began the brainchild of implementing conversational AI on its service desk to better support their end users. This customer has really understood the power of unleashing artificial intelligence on these programs because of its ability to automate those repeatable activities consistently, which really frees up upper tiers and other support staff to do more operationally impacting work, right? So it's increasing the operational readiness of the Navy and really moving the Department of Navy and the DoD at large at a much faster pace toward what industry is doing.
Yeah, it's cool to see the defense industry actually catching up with commercial and bringing in some of those best practices. So,
absolutely.
So Michael, I know in the Intel space you guys do some stuff a little bit differently than what Stephanie was just talking about. So what can you share with us about the journey that you guys are on?
Yeah, sure. So our journey with our customers, they're trying to apply AI ML to help kind of triage those petabytes worth of data that they have, both in archive and then, they're continuously, that volume and velocity of data is coming in with more and more sensors going up. So allowing them to apply things like computer vision, natural language processing, so that it can augment and automate or assist those analysts in their workflows so that a single analyst can now be doing the workload of an entire team, or you'd be able to process non-critical areas with computer vision, whereas maybe a critical area or it's a real-time threat, an actual analyst can be assigned to that task.
That's cool. So it's acting like a force multiplier, right? Like you said, it's like data just keeps expanding, and we're smart people, but humans can't keep up with that expansion. So using AI to be a force multiplier to help your customer is a really intriguing way that we're using AI there. Andrew, I know that you guys deal with a lot of data in CMS, so why don't you talk about the journey you've been on, because it's slightly different.
Yeah, the operative word is journey there, right, for us. We haven't gotten to a place where we are today overnight. And in my space with fraud detection solutions, we've had algorithms in place for years, but they continue to get more modern and advanced all the time. And so walking with our customer through that path has been really important. Transparency has been very important. When people think of AI, they might think of sort of black box around a lot of these detection algorithms that we have in place. We really want to remove that for our customer and make them feel comfortable with these really advanced methods. Going back, 5-10 years, you might have a little bit more skewed toward rule-based fraud detection algorithms, but over time, we've been able to stand up a bigger suite of AI ML algorithms, and we've shown demonstrable success in doing so compared to those, more simplistic rules-based algorithms.
Yeah, and you've had some significant results, I think, for your customers. So why don't you just spend just a quick second talking about some of those results and the actual outcomes that you're seeing by implementing AI in your world?
Yeah, so we have the benefit of seeing downstream outcomes. When we identify high risk of fraud, we can see down the line how investigations turn out. And the nice thing about that is you can measure success, and we've been able to do that. So over time, we've put the advanced AI ML algorithms up against some of the more simplistic algorithms. Can't get into too specific of details here, unfortunately, but just what I can say is that the success of those have been demonstrable. And it's bred, more of those algorithms as we've bred trust in them. Again, that gets back to the concept of transparency, walking with our customer kind of from start to finish, right? And the finish part of that is, let's measure success in terms that matter to you.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I think it's a good, effective use of the data they have to make decisions, helping the human make the right decision to go forward with what you're doing within fraud, waste, and abuse. It's actually pretty cool. So as I listen to you all talk about what you're doing, it's obvious that it doesn't happen overnight. You said 5-year journey, right? So what are the challenges that you guys have experienced in implementing AI for your customers, right? What did you have to do that was maybe different? Was there some organizational change management, some cultural changes that have to happen? And how easy was it for them to get that? And then some of the benefits. So Michael, let's start with you on that question. What are the challenges that you've helped your customer navigate through?
Sure. So one of the big challenges is obviously AI/ML requires quite a bit of computational and storage volume. So utilizing the cloud, our customer realized that they were incurring pretty enormous bills. And there were pockets or silos of different offices or organizations within the larger group that would purchase or utilize some on-prem resources, DGXs, NVIDIA GPU compute, but they weren't using them 100%. So there's a lot of downtime. So the customer came to us since we basically provide the data center services and asked us to figure out a way to kind of provide a all-in-one solution, call it HPC as a service, that allows folks to come and schedule workloads without basically reducing the initial purchasers from utilizing it when they need it. So implementing something like Slurm, it's a scheduler, allows us to kind of consolidate those GPU compute resources and then allow users to onboard, schedule their workloads, even running them over the weekend, utilize that compute when it's not being used for mission critical use cases.
That's such a great term. And HPC as a service, right? We actually have that in the FedSov world. High performance computing as a service is something that actually helps you take advantage of some of that vacant space that you're using in your compute power and bringing that to bear. So that's actually kind of a really cool story to see the way you guys are taking advantage of what's already there to provide an additional service using AI. So that's actually really exciting. So Stephanie, I know when we were talking earlier, as we were getting ready for the podcast, you were talking about some of the complexities that you guys were dealing with. But what's interesting in your story is your customer was asking for it. They wanted it, right? So what's the differences in the challenge that maybe you face with a customer who was actually asking us to bring that power in? Absolutely.
So for us, the biggest support mechanism that GDIT provided was that organizational change management component. So first I'll say that GDIT at large, when we were launching this conversational AI for the Department of Navy, we worked together with other programs that had worked in similar initiatives, and we really shared our lessons learned so that we could bring really the power of all of GDIT's institutional knowledge to the table to roll this out well. There is a huge culture change that comes with implementing conversational AI. A lot of people, we all kind of have that stigma, right? That if you're going to call, your cell phone provider service desk, you're going, oh no, I'm going to deal with the bot. Just get me to an agent. And we wanted to avoid that. So we worked on doing a really slow and deliberate and methodical rollout of the AI so that we could get people's buy-in as we continued to expand its capabilities. And what we've learned since then is, the ability to roll it out in that methodical way was beneficial, but it's also given the other stakeholders that are a part of this engagement a lot more trust in the tool so that they are willing to say, hey, we want to get in on this and we want to get in on this. And now we're seeing even Army and Air Force and other departments within the DoD saying, we want to get competitive on this as well. So bringing in those lessons learned was a huge piece that GDIT brought, and now we're working together really closely with other sections of the Navy to integrate Amelia with their systems. It's lowering the cyber footprint for the Department of Navy. It's increasing that automation, increasing operational readiness for really all of DoD. And so it's been a huge game changer, and I'm really proud that GDIT's been a part of it.
Yeah, that's cool. And I like the fact that your conversational AI has a name, right? It almost makes it feel more like an agent and less like a technology,
Absolutely.
Which is cool. So it's easier for people to adopt and actually work with. So So I think I'd be remiss, because I'm sure there's an audience out there going, okay, what's next? GDIT, we talk about the art of the possible, right? So what's the next real thing that we can look for within AI, right? I know we're kind of pivoting the conversation a little bit, but anybody willing to step out and take the chance on, like, where do they see it going next that's real and we can benefit from?
So I'll say that, Navy started with, putting AI on the front end. The next step is to have it kind of do what you guys are doing in analyzing a lot of the data. The Navy's really starting to understand the importance of rolling out this, any type of really solid AI component, because it's helping to direct resources where they need to go, right? When we have data, when we can analyze that data effectively and efficiently, it helps us understand where potential challenge points could be so that we can direct the resources toward those challenge points and resolve them. So we are looking at implementing AI Ops on Navy Enterprise Service Desk with the Department of Navy, so that we've got automation at the front end and we've got, artificial intelligence on the back helping us with analysis.
Yeah, like once you've trained it, right? Because
Exactly.
you got to train the AI, right? Once you've trained it, the other benefits actually come along, those edge benefits that start to expand its presence. So Andrew, what about you? Where do you see AI going?
So I think for us, the next frontier really is large language models. And with that comes, a lot of complexity in sort of breaking down the types of predictions that we have, the type of work we're doing. Obviously the benefits in terms of efficiencies, and making, a lot of the advanced analytics accessible to even more junior analysts with, conversational AI. We see a lot of benefit there. We also recognize that taking a measured approach is really important as we do that. And I think specifically for end users that, to their credit, are very open to, a lot of these advanced analytics methods, but just aren't data scientists by trade. We want to break down predictions that we're making, provide explainability. That's really a big, focus for our teams. And so I think, developing solutions is one part of the equation, but really understanding your end user and breaking down the solutions so that they can understand them, again, in terms that matter to them, has been really critical for us and will continue to be.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to think about the fact that we're going to bring the convenience of our personal life, hey Alexa, hey Siri, hey Google, into the business world, right? I mean, that's kind of what you're talking about with large language models and making conversational AI and making it simpler for our business partners to actually interact in that way. So Michael, your world's a little bit different than obviously their world. So I mean, where do you see AI going in your space?
It's going the same way. So our customers are really interested in how they can apply not only large language models, but vision language models, multimodal inputs for video, imagery, text, and then how they can utilize off-the-shelf or these custom models that some of their data science shops are building and actually get them into production and deployed. Because they've spent a lot of time in the R&D, they get stuck in these research environments and they never make it to the actual operational side where the end customer is the warfighter. So trying to implement something called MLOps, machine learning operations, kind of play on the DevSecOps where it allows them to quickly iterate on and build models and then track the metrics and then get it to a point where it can be deployed into operations.
Yeah, I mean, just listen to the three of you talk. I mean, there's no ceiling on where we're going to go.
Absolutely.
I think it's really only up to our imagination and our customers' ability to come with us on that journey on where we can take AI. So Andrew, Mike, Stephanie, thank you for the great conversation that we've had today. I truly appreciate all of your insights into where we're going with AI. And for those that want to learn more about it, gdit.com/perspectives is a great place to find more about the adoption of AI, machine learning, generative AI, and how GDIT is supporting the missions of our customer with those technologies. Thank you again for your time. This was such a great conversation.
Thank you so much.